Moses taught the people, the Lord is God, and there is no other. You know, God, my dear friends, has revealed himself through the ages in God's time and in God's way. The first reading this morning is kind of a testament of God and through Moses revealing himself to the people. And Moses challenged the people and said, I want you to call to mind what you believe about this God who has most recently taken you out of Egypt, that place of slavery, from captivity, and performed these marvelous deeds for you. What do you think about that God? And what is your relationship in view of all of this to God? The problem for the people is that they had fallen prey to the culture around them. The peoples that proclaimed other gods, small g. But Moses says we have only one God. We have only one God. Well, you all know me a little bit. I just couldn't get, we fall prey as well, dear friends, today, to many gods in this culture, right? Many gods haunt us now. And we're in a culture now that many of our brothers and sisters are confused. There is only one God, and him we adore. And our brothers and our sisters need to hear that message, just like Moses told the people. And we have to re-examine what exactly is it I believe about that God. You and me, right now. Who is this God for us? This Trinitarian God that they didn't recognize at the time. I think of our culture, just one thing that it just so stuns me yet. Oh, Ireland. Oh, Ireland. How could you do this? Maybe you don't know what I speak of. Ireland, in a national referendum, removed from their constitution a couple of days ago by a national vote, an overwhelming national vote, I might point out, they removed the protection of human life. The culture around us almost seems at times like it's drowning us. And yet, for you and I, the Lord is God, and there is no other. And no matter what the culture speaks to us, we must be those people that proclaim that the Lord is one, that the Lord is our God, not the culture. And we have to vigorously kind of watch ourselves. You young people, you have to be vigorous in your faith. You are going to be called to be vigorous, to be strong. I was weak for most of my life. I just kind of went along with most of this. And where has it led us? So that many of our brothers don't recognize God and his power over us. The Lord is God, and there is no other. I want you to fix in your hearts, he told the people, the Lord is God. And this truth is central, he said to them, to everything else. Without this, without the Lord as our God, truth becomes meaningless, and relativism becomes the norm. Whatever I think, whatever I believe, whatever I proclaim. Oh, that Ireland proclaims that we voted for death? Really? Please, God, that cannot be. But not for you and I. It cannot be this way. It cannot be this way, and this must not stand. I don't want to be too harsh on the Irish people. I really don't. They're no different than us. They're no different than me. When the time comes, and culturally, and I don't recognize our God, and I don't submit to his truths over me, who knows what would happen? Who knows what paths we'll take? But with the Lord our God, we can proclaim the Lord is God. You know, for those people and for us, it would be easy to believe in many gods, small g, many gods, right? It's easy. My God does what I tell my God to do. I manipulate God. I define my own self. We even have justices of the Supreme Court saying, you define your own life. You are the central of your own life. Well, maybe, sort of, but not really. I'm not the giver of life, nor are you. I know very little about how this works, for the Lord is God. There is no other. It took years then for the Hebrew people to accept the oneness of God. It took kind of a humility to accept his revelations, his moral laws over them, his unchangeableness and his truth, and his love for them. It is easier to believe in many gods, and we can take whatever we want from him. And that's why we come, to continuously be reminded that the Lord is God over us. He has unchangeable truths, regardless of what the world teaches. Life is sacred is one of them. Life is sacred. We have children here. Life is sacred. We all see it. We all know it. We look at it. We see these children, and we know they're sacred gifts from God. But the world says, well, whatever, there's many gods. The Hebrew people were called to be his people. He said to them, you are my people, and I will be your God. But you know what, friends? There was a change occurred. This is where I think the Trinity, God revealing himself to us little by little by little. For like children, we couldn't take it all. We still can't take it all. It is, after all, a mystery. Lots of this is. But it's a wonderful mystery. It's a gift to be part of it. You are not called his people anymore. You are called to be children of God. What does that mean? Rather than his people, there's a huge difference. We're his sons and daughters. We're bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. We are part of him, and he cares for us. We're not just his people off somewhere, which was wonderful, I get that. But he said, I wanted to be more intimate than even that. You are my beloved sons, and you are my beloved daughters, and you are my children, and I care greatly for you. And so that is when, in the fullness of time, God revealed himself then as Trinitarian. He revealed himself as a personal God, as three persons, one of them before us, that we come here to celebrate, to participate with, to acknowledge his lordship over us, and to eat of his very body and blood, drink his blood. That's one of them. You know that. God exists then in three persons, but you remain one God. And God is relational. That's why we're called to be relational. That's kind of like we're here kind of sitting together, shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm. There's power here, is there not? There is. Because we're relational. And it's a gift not from us, it's from God. For God is relational, and he wants us to be relational. That's why you love your families. That's why it's in us to love. There's something planted deep down within us from God. Wives to their husbands, husbands to their wives, and husband and wives to their children. And then today, when the relatives come, well, we'll talk about that later, but you've got to love them too. That's relationship. That's who God is. That's where we get this from. And finally, then, God is love. He's love. I don't get love often. I really don't. And I will tell you most frankly, sincerely, we're inundated with love. We're inundated with everywhere love, love, love. Oh, I love you, love you. Everybody loves everybody. And yet, I don't see a lot of it. I see lots of other things. It's because we have not followed the right model, dear friends. Here is love. Love is sacrificial. Love is from God. Love cares for the other person. I wish you well. I would do whatever I could to advance you and not me. But I fall far short of that. But that's why we come, isn't it? To learn, to recognize who God is. That's what the Trinity is all about. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says the mystery of the Holy Trinity is the central mystery of our faith and our life. It is the mystery of God himself. It is therefore the source of all other mysteries of faith. To believe in God is this three persons and one God is central to us. And it is essential, for it allows us to recognize the truth, to maintain the truth, and to live the truth. This morning I read a real short little thing in the prayers about God. It said the following, real short. The Father utters the truth. The Son is the truth he utters. And the Holy Spirit is the truth. Come, O blessed Trinity, and give us the truth. Please, God.